Welcome to the Rolling Forward podcast.
A platform where we talk about all things logistics.
Leading this discussion, you've got Brett and Nathan.
And together, we share a passion for the logistics industry.
All right, welcome back.
Good afternoon.
Welcome back to our podcast, Rolling Forward. This one's episode 15, and we're here with very special Nicolette Murray.
Hey guys, how you going?
Welcome. So, in this discussion today, we want to talk about the Port of Brisbane industry topics, but also have a bit of an edge in females in logistics.
Yep.
Because we believe you champion that really well. But first of all, Nicola, who are you? If you can give a bit of an introduction. Our paths crossed years ago.
Yeah.
In your freight forwarding days, we did some projects together and so forth. And now you've jumped into a role with the Port of Brisbane. And from our perspective, we believe you represent the industry remarkably well. And it's a pleasure doing
and
business
the port
with you.
too, yeah.
And the port, you play a neutral bat between stevedores,
Competing in
transport industry, and having the best interest of importers and exporters, and that's ultimately what we're all here to serve. So I'm just really excited to see this conversation flow out, and let's go. But anyway,
who am I?
Who are you? What's your background? What's led you to the Port of Brisbane?
Yeah, so I guess and it would probably explain how I'm sort of working around the port at the moment and sort of that engagement with many different sectors, and it's because I've worked in many different sectors. I guess Melbourne born and bred from the suburbs down there. So I sort of did most of my working life in Melbourne. Loved work ever since I was young. I sort of always just had a drive to just be doing something, doing a job, doing a task. So I was a Macca's girl. And back then that was very, very important. If you had Macca's on your resume, that was going to make you very hireable.
Yep. I was the same, to be honest.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's very... It just sets you up beautifully, doesn't it?
Definitely. So you never stand still, hey? You're always just moving things, multitasking. And I think that you sort of look back and go, that was such an important first job to have because it just sets you up for life, really.
Yeah. To have a 14-year-old training another 14-year-old is pretty impressive to create systems and processes to that extent.
That's right.
Definitely. But I guess from my, how I got into the industry, it really all started with the goats. So I didn't want to go to uni. I was trying to and what to do. My parents said, you got to get a job, Nick. And I'm like, well, yeah, I like jobs. So I got a job.
Yep.
But they wanted me to also study. So I had to study a certificate course in office administration or something.
Yep.
And I'm like, whatever. Went and did that. And then I got put into an office. And the first day I went in, I was like, well, what's this office? There's goat pictures and farms. And
right.
Ended up being that we were a goat exporter, a goat trader.
Okay.
So I was there to just do the typing and do a bit of filing. But we were actually a company really small. We bought the goats from the farm. We took them to the abattoir. We killed them. We chopped them up. We shipped them. And so I was like, wow, I didn't even know that world existed when I was growing up. So that was really, really cool.
I actually thought you were talking about an acronym there when you first said
of all time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, bit of that. But that sort of set me into this industry, and I didn't leave it. I just couldn't leave it after that. So I went into shipping line work. But the game changer was really at 22 going to work for Seaway. So at the time, there was 5 people there in Melbourne. It was small. They were just a shipping agent.
Yep.
And that was, the best sort of, place to land because that company just kept growing and growing and growing, and they expanded into forwarding. They got transportation. They were in the rail. They were still the ship agent. So it was really great exposure to be able to learn from all the different areas of the business. And definitely got to be many different hats for many years. So
they're a very solid player in Australia in particular. And
how many years were you with Seaway?
17.
17.
And they let me move around a lot as well. So I'd come up here. I was working for Kiwi Car Carriers. That was the sort of the shipping line I was representing for a long time. And that was used car trade from Japan. So at 22, I'm the sales rep for Kiwi Cars, sort of Australia, and selling to used car salesmen. So I thought,
awesome.
It was
you need some skills for that, Nick.
I know. And I once I sort of mastered it a bit, I'm like, wow, this is, this sort of, I figured out that maybe that's a bit of my superpower. I can sort of walk in and sell freight to real dodgy characters. So
there you go.
Yeah. So then from there, I guess, just got to travel a bit. They allowed me to go to Tassie. I opened an office down there.
Okay.
And that was really a good couple of years in Hobart. came back to Melbourne after kids, and then eventually, you know, have 2 kids. You just go find the parents, and they were up here. So
Yep.
relocated to Brisbane.
You need babysitting, mate.
Yeah.
I had no idea that your tenure at Seaway was that long, which is really impressive. And I would argue
the range of
rare,
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
let alone also setting up an office in Tassie. So
Yeah,
what was
Tassie
that
market.
like?
Yeah, the Tassie market was really hard to crack. I think I went to Craig McElvaney at the time because my hubby was getting work down there. So we're like, we've got to go.
Yep.
So I wrote a business case of all this business and all the freight that was moving in Tassie and what I could go and achieve for Seaway. But when I went down there, it's like a 2-horse race. There was no liner service. You're either moving out on Sea Road or
Yep.
toll.
Yep.
And so it was interesting. I was like, well, how am I going to break this market and get some business for Seaway? So I had to just pick either or. Toll were dominating at the time, so I thought I'd go to Sea Road and just try and use Sea Road to pluck business off Toll.
Yep.
And yeah, it took about you have to probably be there a year before they stop calling you a mainlander. So you have to really earn yourself in Tassie. You have to show that you're there for good. You're there to help them. So yeah, after a year, I sort of started finding a lot of success, and it was fun. Like we would have probably stayed there a little longer if we didn't fall pregnant. So
Yep. Yeah. Or if your parents relocated to
yeah,
Tassie.
yeah,
Tasmania.
yeah. So we took the kids there not long ago, and they loved it, and it's like their favorite place. And we're like, yeah, we used to. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the world.
Yeah, it's a cool place. And when you talk about, you know, you need to be there more than a year to be called a
Yeah,
mainlander.
yeah,
Grace and I had our honeymoon there, and the plumbers were down there at a similar time too. And I very much noticed that. Like when we stayed at one of the locations we stayed at was a bed and breakfast. And they're literally like, so the jam's from down the road, the bread's made from the baker around this corner here. This is from here, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was just all produce from the land. They take care of their own, so which is really cool.
yeah. But they're such a funny breed because I lived in Hobart, but a lot of the shipping was obviously up in Devonport and Burnie. So I just get in the car and drive up there, go meet a few customers, drive home. And people in Burnie would only ever go to Hobart on like school holidays. They would never just do that drive. And people that lived on the east had never even been to the west. And it was quite surprising. Like, yeah.
Whereas the distances that, you know, other states around Australia are traveling,
Yeah.
you know, even just to get to work.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Wow.
So if I end up back there, then you know why. It's because it's,
Yep. It's because the parents have moved.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then you, like, I know you know, we did some project work together, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then you started your pathway into the port.
Yeah, so I sort of came up here, obviously, still with Seaway, then went into more of a liner sort of operator. I decided to go back to just being a shipping line rep. Kids were little, needed the juggle.
Yep.
So I moved out of project forwarding at that time into just working for TS Line here, which was really, it was good.
Very fitting.
Yep. Had a good couple of years there. And then obviously with Herg Auto Liners, because my passion's really that Ro-Ro break bulk side of the business. Boxes to me are a bit like the mail. Yeah, it's like, you know, they're going to go to where that population sort of depot is. Whereas I find the Ro-Ro and break bulk is really a lot more competitively sort of where it could go into.
niched.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, I got a tap on the shoulder. Sort of COVID hit, you know, and then the old story, shipping got sad. So I got a tap on the shoulder and asked to sort of go and work for the port. So didn't really even know what that would be. I was like, why not? Give it a go. So, yeah.
That's cool. So, like, we'll go into some deeper questions, but just a preliminary one right now. Your experience right now and what you're going through, where's your mind at compared to going to that position? Because it's hearing about the role is totally different to now you're actually living, breathing, and executing in the role.
Well, I didn't really know what the role was for a long time. I think for the first year, I was still trying to understand, what do we do? Just the port. Like, we're not operating anything. I really struggled to understand, like, how I could add value to this industry from that position. And that was, it took me like literally a year to figure that out because I'm used to sort of being involved and moving freight and being a lot more connected to industry. And I felt like I was just the infrastructure. But I think that sort of, I sort of had to dive into a lot more of that logistics and the road manager role to really sort of find my path as to how I could actually make a change and be influencing something.
Yeah, cool. I think one of the strengths that I've identified is your networking ability. Like just you're easy to get along with. You enjoy having conversations, and you find things to get interested in as well. I think that's where your strength lies. Like hearing you talk about setting up an office in Tasmania and things like that, and also diversifying across the Seaway network with experience is no surprise. And I can see how that's been brought to the port with just how you've actively sought to get to know all the stakeholders involved. To then be able to be in a position to go, okay, this is how I can add some value. I can join the dots here, or join these people together.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're right. Like, I love the engagement piece. I enjoy talking to anyone. I'm very curious. So I'll sit next to a stranger and want to know what they do for a job type thing. So I think that's sort of how I just am in general. But I think from that, you can sort of get to know people, get to understand like what drives them, what's important to their business. And then, definitely start to sort of work out how we as Port can influence that, or even just connect them with another person that might be able to help them sort of achieve what they need to do.
Yeah.
Nice.
What have been your biggest frustrations to date, Nicola, in the role at the Port?
I don't
What do you find most difficult to
Yeah,
deal with?
just not sort of outside the port of the industry in general, or
Just in general, the role.
I don't like the word no, to be honest. I never have. If I want to do something, or if I think something is important, I want to do something. Like, I just don't like.
Find a way.
Yeah, definitely. I prefer how. Like, it might not be yes, but don't be no. It has to be how. And so if I come across people that are no, that frustrates me, Brett, as you know.
Yes. Good.
Yeah, and I think that's, so I won't sort of go down that path. I'll go and find the people that are saying yes and people that are saying how, and that becomes my people.
Yeah.
Because we're all, we're all sort of championing
Moving forward,
the same thing.
Yeah, okay, cool.
That's really cool. Being curious.
Yeah, and I think that when you build that tribe, you're getting stronger. And as a tribe, you can go, hey, you're going to say no now?
You're mixing with people who want to do things and look for ways to get things done.
Yeah, definitely.
Everyone can put up concrete road barriers, but you got to be able to drive around them.
Yeah, definitely.
And ultimately, the stronger that tribe gets, then it outnumbers the other tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
The no-sayers,
Yeah.
Okay. So we've had Andrew Rankin on our podcast previously, and he was in the position prior to himself for 20 plus years. And inside his tenure there's massive changes that have gone on, like just the port itself, 2020 versus the early 2000s, 2003 when he started, I think.
Yeah.
Is remarkably different.
It's grown substantially. In fact, there's an aerial shot over in the pub over here from 2003, and
that's right.
You wouldn't recognise it because the sand. We're out in the water. Our new facility's coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Dramatically different. So, you obviously, like, you had a bit of a handover with Andrew. You're taking your time to find your feet in that role as well, networking amongst the camp. What have you really enjoyed inside that role, and what are you bringing to it now? Like, what's different about how you've approached it compared to Andrew? And this is not about like what are you doing versus him. It's more the case of the landscape. His tenure was his landscape.
Yeah.
The landscape today is different. So how are you adapting, and what are you bringing to represent the industry?
Well, I think that I guess, like I said, in that first year, it took me a while to figure out what this was. The handover wasn't fantastic. I think he was sort of reluctant. I could see that he'd done so much in his career and wasn't ready to kind of retire. I think when I first walked in as his replacement, I still just remember the look. We were both like, yep. Sorry. But I think that, it was interesting. Like, he kind of obviously wanted me to learn my own way on the port. I didn't know anything about trucks, to be honest. I knew trucks would take my cargo to the ship, and I didn't really know about combinations, or I wasn't interested in axles, Brett. Definitely not anything like the quad father. But I like I said, I was curious and I wanted an assignment. So I said, okay, I'm going to learn everything about truck. And I know I used to sort of Google it and try and sort of school myself up on it. And then I'd put it on a one pager and put it on Andrew's desk.
Yep.
And then he'd go, yep, that's right. I'm like, yes.
Just give you a little bit.
Yeah. So I sort of.
Good on him.
Yeah. So I kind of.
So you had to fight your way in.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like he used to run away from me whenever he saw me, but like we got, we're good now. I think that it it was just an interesting transition to have
course, yeah.
someone that's coming in with a completely different background,
Yeah.
age, sex, the whole works,
right,
in an environment that was very traditionally old white man
Yep.
Yep.
for so long.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, and I think when he sort of left and retired, I guess comments used to be, "Oh, Andrew used to do this, Andrew used to do that." But I was like, I have to do it how I do it.
You have
You
to
know?
differentiate yourself.
Yeah, I haven't been hired to be him. I've been
No.
hired for, you know,
Yeah, Andrew's the Andrew, and
Yeah.
Andrew is the Andrew, and Nicola's Nicola.
yeah.
So,
But I did get to sort of, I guess I've been so privileged to sort of be able to step in on his legacy. Like he did
Yes.
so much amazing work, and now I get to go, okay, I could have sort of look at what can be achieved in the old days. Now look
Yep.
what we can try and achieve in
In
this
the
new
current
world.
days.
Yeah,
I think credit to you because like I think it's funny how you're describing all of that, and also us knowing Andrew too,
And done a lot of work with Andrew as well.
and done a lot of work with him. So, like it would be very challenging in such a role where people are going like they're used to those couple of decades, and they're going, but Andrew did it this way, Andrew
Yeah.
did it that way,
Yeah.
and that doesn't discredit you or him. It's more the case of today's today,
yeah,
and today might be different. And like I know the way that Andrew talks about you now is really really positive, really proud, and
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera. So it's interesting hearing that early piece. And look, ultimately, non-surprising because
yeah.
Yeah.
that's just how roles in handovers, typically occur.
Yeah. I remember he said that he was like a Rottweiler, and at the time I was like, I'm like the border collie, like it was very different.
It's like I can't say anything right here.
But no, I think I've sort of actually gone back and read a lot of emails that he's exchanged as well, and sort of gone back and read a lot about the work he did, and then I've kind of freshened it up and made myself a bit of a mental checklist about how do we get a new combination on the road. Okay, well I've learnt that this is how
This
it's
is how it
done.
goes.
I'll just be like, do that,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, he's got the playbook there.
Yeah,
Follow that.
I'm just cheating now.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
But
good.
Nicola, it's good to see diversity and some female representation come into the industry, which is good, and we encourage that as a business.
Yeah.
yeah,
We don't look at sex, color.
no.
We look with what can this person add?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess we're multitasked naturally, women, I think, especially women that have had children and are
Yes.
working. I think we become like superhuman.
Yep.
But then we don't have ego. So
Yes.
now we're even like incredible, like there's unicorns out there that are just amazing. So the more women you get around, especially, I guess, ones that have had babies and worked at the same time, I think that's a
It's
massive
hard.
skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like,
tough. Yeah.
I talk to my wife a lot about that, and I can only empathise. I'm not Grace, and just like your husband's not Nicola, and you're not Annette. we can only listen and hear and whatnot, but we haven't experienced in that regard because oftentimes children gravitate more to
Yeah.
more to the mother / there's different obligations. So credit, I hear that. Just staying on that topic, what do you think? This is sort of twofold, but what do you think can help attract females to logistics more? What should be celebrated more to help?
Yeah, well, I think the world is changing out there. I think the big boys clubs slowly dissipating a bit. I think that that's just the way the world is now. You have to sort of do a job. It's fast paced. Watch out, it'll get taken over by AI. So I think you've really got to the way work is different now. You can't just you need drive, you need a lot more energy, you need a lot of empathy, you need to be what's the word, I guess I just think there's a lot of qualities that women have that can come into this logistics world. How do we get them in? It's probably our sort of responsibility, isn't it? I was thinking about the other day, I'm like, I landed into this and I had some good mentors around me, but I've sort of since just kept running.
Yep.
But I probably now have to stop and go, okay, who's around me that I can now
Bring along.
on? Because if that doesn't happen,
Yes.
how does it keep going?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yep.
Do you feel there is a glass ceiling for you?
No.
No? Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Do you think there's broadly speaking, a glass ceiling for females in logistics?
Just explain that a bit more, like.
So
For
I
others.
see you that you've got the attitude of going, well, I'm going to find a way.
I'm going around.
I'm going to make my own.
Pressure. I'm
Yeah.
going around.
And someone can put an objection towards me, and that's okay. They can do that, but they don't control me. I'm going to influence and drive my actions. So, male or female, irrespective, not everyone has that.
No.
Not everyone has those skills or abilities or that self-belief as well. So, taking a bit of that into consideration, but just in general speaking, like across your observations in this industry, do you think there is a ceiling that this industry is putting on females to get in or progress? Pretty broad question.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll use Seaway as an example. And other forwarding businesses, did you find that females did as well, or were discriminated against? Or?
Yeah, so when I first came into Seaway, I had a female sales manager, and that was the first female I'd come across in my shipping days. You know, I'd been about PAE, I'd been A&L. All the women used to be the customer service girls, you know, and then the men would be the reps.
Right.
Yeah.
That was sort of the dynamic I always walked into. So at Seaway,
That was a pretty typical shipping
yeah,
line.
yeah. So to have a female sales manager, that was a game changer for me as well. And to have such a young, progressive sort of group of directors as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think it all comes down to your management as well. Like you have to let people just go off and fly, not try and micromanage them too much.
Yep.
And that's sort of, so I think that management's extremely important for women to just be able to go and have a crack and
Really?
not feel like they have to come and report back and ask for permission, just go and do it.
Get on.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's changing. When I first moved up to Brisbane, I felt like I came up and it was about 15 years prior. Like I just came into Brisbane like, oh, right, it's like this, is it? So, you know, I think that's changing as well. I think that slowly starting to fix. So I think, women have much more opportunity now to take those roles that can take them, you know, and smash the ceiling, really.
Yep. Good. And as Brett was alluding to beforehand, it's important inside our business. That's we want that equal participation of all genders and whatnot.
We just want to be colour blind and gender blind.
Yeah.
Yep. And just really look to a role and go, who's the best fit, and how do we help support that person to flourish?
Yeah.
We are conscious that inside our team we don't want to be heavily weighted towards being specific a male-dominated management team, for example.
Yeah.
And looking within our respective teams, we don't want to be heavily weighted on various sites. So it's something that we intentionally target.
Balance brings lots of benefits.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you get too many women in one spot or too many men in one spot,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
you have issues you got to deal with. So
And there's just
Best.
different ways of thinking. And when you bring those different
the
brains
best, that's
together inside a team, like you just referenced beforehand, typically in the past, in one of those industries, customer service was female.
Yeah.
And we've got to be very, very mindful in our environment because that could occur too. And at the moment we got one gentleman in the team,
customer service. Yeah.
and that gives a good injection, and we've got to manage that ratio.
Yes.
And ideally get it up.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we were saying before, like females in transport in general, that's something that, how are we going to fix that? We've got to get more women into the driving positions, into a bit more of that sort of manual kind of labour sort of side of the industry. But
as you said, Nicola, you need mentors. You need people you can see and say, I want to be like her, you know? So we need to get people up the tree.
Yeah.
We also need to get people in sideways in the tree too.
Yep.
Where people can see outside the industry. Like today's podcast is going to encourage women to join logistics. You know,
Well, that's it. They've got to come in, they've got to see that there's already a woman
there's
up the
doing
brink.
it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And they can see that pathway.
And you'll do that, I'm sure. You'll encourage, by virtue of what you're doing here today, will encourage people to join.
Yep.
Because it's an amazing industry. It's incredible. And that's, and I think working for the port, like I said, for a while, I was like, what am I doing? Who's my customer? Who's my competitor? Like I need that to drive me. And I got to the point, I thought, well, everyone's my customer. The trucks are the
Inefficiency is your enemy.
Yeah, that's right.
Inefficiency.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. So productivity, efficiency, that's definitely,
Yes.
with the legacy I'm trying to push now on port, I'd like to see minimum 4 to 6 TU trucks. That's all I want to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd like to see more two-way loading, obviously. automation. You know,
We love two-way loading, as you know.
yeah.
And we love the prospect of automation.
Mm.
That sounds really interesting and one that we want to see inside the next 5 years.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and I think it will.
We haven't booked the room yet, but we might soon.
Yeah, well, we're like a piece of work that we're trying to stand up now is to not wait for someone to bring us an automated vehicle and to actually start to look at what we need to do for infrastructure, for tech, for what does that look like on the port? How does everyone's systems start to talk to each other and sort of, testing use cases? What do we need to do with the paint on the road, the signs? Like, how is this world going to work on the island? I think we're probably the best positioned port to have a crack.
Oh, by country mile.
Yeah.
We were talking to Chris from One Stop, and we were just talking about the other ports overseas and some of the backward practices that
They're occurring.
are occurring. It's just mind blowing.
It's just so far, like compared to
What happens?
our ratio compared to other ratios in other big
And
countries.
Just delays on landside pickups and
Yeah.
lack of booking systems and just crazy.
Yeah, one
Crazy
container a
demand.
day per truck.
Yeah, well,
So you get that.
it keeps people employed, but you got to wonder.
There's that World Bank report that comes out that compares every port in the world to each other, and it's just a joke because it's not taking into consideration any of that.
It's only looking seaside.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're trying to sort of, as Ports Australia, work with them to get more of those landside metrics in, because once you put the landside in,
Yeah, it's a
we
different story.
flip it. Like, I think that we're completely dominating in that
So
space.
No, Australia leads in a lot of areas in ports. It's just that those landside numbers or how many boxes you move off a vessel every hour is only one metric.
Yeah.
And if they did that really well and did not move them away from the port, guess what?
Yeah.
You have a lot of land at the port, or you have a lot of containers at the port.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
the report's only looking at one
One
customer.
side.
Yes, it's true.
That's right. One customer. That's it.
So, what are you excited about for the future? And you touched on a couple of things there, automation and whatnot. Let's just extend on that. Like, for example, we might even start the conversation off with the Port of Brisbane's 2060 vision,
Yeah.
which is, interesting horizon ahead. So what are the things that you're excited about and that you're trying to get your hands on to influence?
Well, definitely being, I guess, in my role as a road manager, I do see automation as my baby. So I'd like to really be the one that drives that, we're doing a big project on that at the moment. And I want to come out of this with a plan as to what that checklist is to get things moving there.
Definitely.
I'd like to see a lot more, improvements on that interface. I think I've really wanted to focus on that landside efficiency.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another idea is like, why do we have passenger cars on the island? That's sort of thought. Like, do we kick out the cars?
Yep.
It's truck city. It's more automated. Perhaps people come in on a shuttle bus or something. Like, I'm sort of thinking forward. Like, there's a lot I think that could happen in the next couple of years that aren't dramatic changes, but will.
Just thinking about that, Nicola. I mean, it could be that one way is to remove the cars. The other way is like to go onto the wharfront. You need an MSIC card. It may be that you, beyond a certain point, say you've got to have an access card, which tells the people that you've been trained and what's going on down there. That you're aware of automated vehicles, how do you deal with those? So you potentially have a port access card.
Yeah.
Which keeps people in cars who know what the hell's going on the island.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Somewhat similar in Townsville. They've got obviously geographically a very different location what we're talking about, but they actually have like a gatehouse on the main road coming in, and then you get passed through that, and you got this free reign of going around,
Wherever.
all the transport carriers and the terminal up there.
Yeah, but it's certainly having automation and incorporating that into the wider port infrastructure will require some sort of control and access.
Yeah, you're right.
No question. Otherwise, you're going to dedicate roads to automated vehicles and automated activity, which is what we do currently on the ports. Obviously, we keep people away from automated vehicles, but I suspect as automation creeps into the rest of the economy, and I know in the US it does, they're on roads with automated cars.
Yeah.
Where drivers have got to allow for the fact that there's no one driving that but a computer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it might do some crazy things. So look out.
But I think the sort of speed in which AI is coming at us and just how dramatically the world's changing, what used to probably look weird, it's just going to be
It won't.
normal.
Normal. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. But that may well be a solution to rather than ban cars, train the people in the car so they can deal with and understand what's on the island, and only certain people go there.
Yeah, and I guess
People that need to be there.
And I guess this piece is for automation is to make us more to decrease costs of the actual transactions, so we can sort of drive efficiencies and productivity on port. But then it's also addressing the age of the driver. We're not trying to replace drivers; we're just trying to fill the gap
Keep
that's
up with the
coming.
task.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless we have an import program, we're really it's a training and it's difficult. It's difficult to get enough people to do the job. It's a big industry.
Does it pay well? Maybe I'll switch over.
Night
No,
shift.
pays okay.
Yeah. I've still got to get in the truck, by the way. I
Yeah.
definitely want to do it.
Happy to take it.
Have a day in the truck. Actually understand what that interface is actually
Yeah.
in real life. I think.
Well, let's organise that. We'll organise that.
Awesome. Any other questions, Brett?
No, I think Nicola's done really well.
I think so.
First podcast. Well, Taylor Swift did one the other week, so I felt that it was my turn. So,
Just jump on the
Have you got a song?
no, not today. But thanks for having me. I'm glad you got a female into the driver's seat.
Yep. No, we're happy about that. And again, we greatly appreciate the support you have on our business and also on the industry.
All
You don't take any biased view on any players in the game. And you
I love your
support
I
really
love your
well.
description of going around. They put it all up on going around, looking
Yeah.
for people who want to do stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah. And, one of the takeaways I have from this is just, looking at your attitude and people adopting Simlo and going, just be curious. Be curious.
definitely.
Be curious. And if you're truly committed, you'll find a way.
find a way.
Yeah, and just always sort of that positive sort of approach as well. Like there's no point whinging about stuff. Just constantly think of the positive way to push forward,
Easy.
and you'll get there. Or just don't hang out with them and find other people.
Find a new tribe.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Great. Thanks,
Okay.
Nicola.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Thanks for listening to our podcast, Rolling Forward.
We love sharing content for the logistics industry, so please also connect with us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.